Hello viewers, this is Nobel Shah. Once again welcome you all to my online tutorials. Today I am going to discuss about a topic which is network load balancing, a very important topics of Windows Server 2012. So what is actually network load balancing? Network load balancing actually distributes traffic across multiple hosts in a balanced manner. Means when several users try to log into a web server, their request distributed among all the web servers that you configure using network load balancing option. In network load balancing, the traffic always distributed equally to all the web servers. Hence, when you create a NLB cluster, network load balancing cluster, you actually add all those nodes that will be participated in network load balancing. So the more server you add to your NLB cluster, the more faster the user will visit the websites. And now I will discuss some prerequisites of NLB configuration. If we want to configure network load balancing, we have to follow some prerequisites. So I have a list here for the prerequisites. Number 1, I must have a domain controller and some machines that are joined to a domain controller. I already discussed how to join a machine in a domain controller in my previous videos. So if you have any difficulties, you can check those videos. And then we have to install NLB feature on all those machines that will be used for network load balancing. Well, including the machine that will be used to create the NLB cluster. And then we need to install web server role on those machines that will be used as NLB cluster nodes. NLB cluster nodes means the machines that will be participated as web server. And then we need to create and configure the cluster. So I will show you how to create and configure the cluster from a machine. It can be any machine, but it is recommended that the machine you will configure to create the NLB cluster, you do not need to install the web server role on that particular machine. That machine will only use for managing the NLB cluster. Okay, so let's start. First of all, we need to make sure that we log into the domain joined machine with our domain credentials. Okay, to do that, what you can do, you can go to the other user options from your login screen and you can log in using your domain name and then the username that have the domain administrator privilege. Once you are in, now you can install the roles that are necessary to configure the network load balancing. So the first role we need is NLB, network load balancing. This is actually a feature. So let me show you how to install NLB. So to configure network load balancing, you need to go to the manage options from the client machine and click the add roles and feature options. Click next and specify the machine that you want to install this role. Click next and then choose the web server role, and from the feature page select the network load balancing option. Click at feature, click next, 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 and then click install. So the same way you need to install this network load balancing and web server in all those nodes that will be participated in our NLB cluster. But remember, you do not need to install web server in your machine that will be actually used to create and manage NLB cluster. So in my scenario, I am using my domain controller machine to create and configure the NLB cluster. To speed up the process, I have already installed all the necessary roles and feature needed for the network load balancing. So now let me open my domain controller machine. This is my domain controller machine. My domain name is adatom.com, and then once the roles are installed, you can go to the tools option, and from the tools menu you can choose the network load balancing manager. Now from the network load balancing manager window, we will create the NLB cluster. To create the NLB cluster, just click the cluster menu and click the new option. Here you need to specify the host name that will be our first cluster node. Okay, so in my case, one of my host machine name is C186, and then just click the connect button. If you properly join the machine in your domain, it will be connected and it will show the IP address of that particular machine. In my case, the machine IP address is 172.16.1.186, and click the next button. Here you can choose the initial host state. Means what will be the host state? Like default state is stated here, started. Means once the node added to the cluster, it will be in started position. Well, you can choose the stopped and suspended mode also, but I recommend you to choose the default state, started, and click the next button. In this window, new cluster IP address, we need to add a IP address for our cluster. So click the add button and specify an IP address. Remember, this IP address is the new address of our cluster that will be used by the clients to access the websites. So let me assign an IP address like 172.16.16.16 and click the subnet mask option. The subnet mask will be automatically generated, and if you want, you can change the subnet mask as your network requirement. Click the OK button and click the next option. In the new cluster parameters window, you can see the address that we have assigned for our cluster, and here in full internet name option you can choose the internet name for your cluster. For example, our cluster name will be, say, hello.adatom.com. Once you have specified the full internet name, you need to choose the cluster operation mode. In my case, I have okay, let me choose the multicast option. Multicast means a single source can distribute its resources among all the participants. It's called one to many. Okay, like YouTube, when we go to YouTube, lots of people can see a video, they can download a video. So it is in multicast mode, and click next. Here in the defined port rules, you can edit your default port rules like this. Click the edit button and uncheck the all option. You can see the cluster IP address is here, and from the port range specify from 80 to 80, and the protocol options you can keep the default, and then the filtering mode. From this option let me choose the affinity none. So from the filtering mode we have choose the option multiple host and the affinity none, means the traffic will be distributed among all the nodes that are participating in our cluster. If we choose single host, that means the all request will be handled by only one single host. But if we choose multiple host and single option, that means the web request will be handled by all web servers, but from a single user all subsequent requests will be handled by only one web server. So in my case I am choosing multiple host and affinity none, and then click OK, and then click finish. So it is configuring. Wait till the states of this C186 machine gets converged. Once it will be converged, it will be in full operation mode. Okay. Now when we click our cluster name, we can see the status is showing converged. Okay. So now if you want to add another node to this cluster, you can click the cluster name and right click on it and click add host to cluster. I have another machine which is named ADL-DC that I want to connect to this cluster, and click the connect button. Check whether the IP address is showing or not. If it is showing, means it is connected properly. Click the next button, and from this window the default state, keep the default state started, click next, and then the default rule that we have edited, just keep this option and click finish, and wait till the status sets to converged. Once it will be converged, the machine will be fully operational. Right. So we can see the status is now converged. Okay. Now look, this is my cluster name, which is hello.aratam.com. Once you click here, you can see the IP address, which is 172.16.16.16, and the host participated in this cluster, number one host C186, and the second host name is ADL-DC, and I can see the IP address also up there. But if we click the C186 machine name, we can see the cluster IP address is also showing 172.16.16.16. Every single node that will be participated in cluster, the cluster address will be the same. Okay. Now as we have configured these two machines as web server, you can browse these machines by the IP address. Okay. But the cluster name that we have assigned, which is hello.aratam.com, in real scenario, that will be actually used by the clients to log into a web server. Okay. For that, we need to do one more thing in our domain controller machine, which is we need to go to the DNS option, tools, DNS, from the DNS window we need to add a host record for the cluster name. So expand the forward lookup zone option, and then expand your domain name, which is aratum.com in my case, and create a host record here by right clicking the window, right click on it and click new host A or quad A, and then specify the name. In my case, my cluster name is hello, so you can see the fully qualified domain name is showing hello.aratum.com, and the IP address that I have assigned for the cluster, which is in my case 172.16.16.16. Okay, you can also create a pointer record if you want. Click the add host button. Now our host record is successfully created. Okay, now we will be able to browse by the cluster name. So to check whether it is working properly or not, you can go to your Internet Explorer option, and you can type the cluster name here, which is hello.aratum.com, and then hit enter. Wait a minute please. One 172.16.16.16. Okay, look, our web server is showing, and once we refresh the page, it will be actually distributed among all the cluster nodes that we have configured in our cluster. Okay, to check it properly, what you can do, you can go to the web server of all those nodes and you can modify the default web page so that you can check whether it is working properly or not. So let me go to my fast machine. If we go to the C drive, you will see there is a folder named inetpub, and we will see there is a folder named www.root. When you double click on it, you will see a image, PNG image, which is IIS8. Right click on it and click the edit button. Okay, and just type something you want here. This is my C186 machine, so type it like C186, save and close. The same way, go to the second web server machine, go to C drive, go to inetpub and www.root, and then edit the page. So this is another machine which is ADL DC. Save it and close it. Right. Now go to the web browser and type the IP address of your cluster, http 172.16.16.16. hit enter, and you will see the first web server web page is showing now, C186. If you refresh, click refresh, see I have moved to another web server which is ADLDC. So in this way the network load gets balanced. It is distributed among the nodes that is participating in our NLB cluster. Okay, right, that is all about our network load balancing. In my next videos I will discuss with some other topics of Windows Server 2012. Till then, you guys take care. Have a good day. and please do share with your friends if you like this video. Bye bye.